Hi, this is Aidan Genette, and this is my article presentation. The article I chose was Struggle to Apply for Unemployment Continues Across the Country. And this is an article about the unemployment process, filing for a claim, how it gets processed, and the time it's taking to hear back. And some of the main things covered in this article are how many Americans filed for unemployment during the pandemic and how the system is not built to handle that. Each state currently has their own unemployment system with how they decide to process and handle claims, deciding if people are eligible or ineligible. Each state has different funding for the unemployment system, so they may be able to give out more or less money. And the system's currently just not able to handle the amount of people applying, and there's huge backlogs of over 500,000 applicants in some states, Florida for specifically. Some of the other main things this article covers is like the critical funds that the unemployment provides for many during the pandemic. Many people are out of work right now because a lot of non-essential businesses are closed, so they need the unemployment money along with the stimulus check money that they've got to pay for their bills, buy groceries, feed their family, and other things like that. One of the things that's happening is with the huge backlog, the states are taking well over 1 month to process claims, and this leaves people in a huge predicament where they have no money for a month or sometimes longer to pay their bills or buy groceries. If they're out of work, they're not making any money, and the time the unemployment claim is processing, they're not getting paid either. This is the biggest single spike in unemployment filings ever. We've never seen something like this, so it's definitely something we have to learn from, but I think there's a lot of things we can do to help the system and make it better so this doesn't happen again. The article also covers what the states are starting to do to help fix the problem. There's only so much they can do right away, but it is something that over time can be changed to prevent this from happening again. And I think it should be more focused on prevention because you can't really fix what they've already done. The problem is the websites and phone lines were down for over a week, leaving many people without the help they needed. I know personally when I tried to file, it took me about 2.5 weeks to reach someone on the website to finally file. It's just super disorganized and people are lost, and it creates a system where they can't file and they're struggling a lot. And many of these people, their businesses were closed by the government, and then the government has no way of bringing them funds, so they're just stuck here with no money, and they still have bills to pay. Rent is still due. They haven't suspended mortgages or anything like that. I find this situation really interesting because it can affect almost anyone in any discipline. There's so many people right now who are in situations they never thought would happen, and I think that every discipline is affected in a different way through this, and one of the specifics is being a healthcare worker. It's one of the few disciplines right now that isn't as affected by the unemployment because hospitals are still open and they're needed to treat the people with COVID. But one of the things is people who are working healthcare, who work part-time or contingent, if they catch COVID, they'll need to file for unemployment because they'll be off work for at least 2 weeks. And they won't be able to get the funds they need either. And that's just one of the situations that's happening because the claims are taking well over a month and they're not getting the help they need either. I think one of the solutions is for everyone to come together to help change the situation. It's a really unique situation, and we have to come together to call on those in charge to produce change so this doesn't happen again. We can't have another situation where so many people are without funds to pay the bills they need to pay. So the number one solution I see is the processing of the claims needs to be outsourced to a company able to handle the amount of claims being filed. So this doesn't necessarily mean the government has to completely create a new company or new branch to deal with this, but they could definitely add funds and people to the current unemployment groups to speed this up. So another solution would be to go to a completely different company, completely outsourcing the job to a company that has the employees and the technology already in place to solve this problem. I think either of these are good solutions and both have their pros and cons, but I think one of them needs to be done because in the current state, there's just not enough people and they can only process so many claims a week. And right now, the claims are outweighing how many they can process, so they're getting a huge backlog of these claims. And it's just forcing people to have to wait 4 to 8 weeks to even receive any money. And in a time like that, you really can't survive off 2 months with no money. Along with the system needing help, it needs an update. They're using technology that is very old, and when it receives traffic like it did, it's just going to crash every time, and we've seen that. I know specifically in Michigan where I'm at, the system was down for about a week, and I know Ohio's was down as well because I was trying to use that one. And in the article, it talks about, one of the things it talks about is Florida's unemployment system specifically, and how they had over 500,000 claims just backlogged, and they were only doing about 20 to 40,000 claims a week. So that just shows you that the wait is very long. There's a lot of information on the unemployment websites that's super important, and it's super scattered all over the websites. Some of it's super hard to find. Many people who aren't in tune with the updates of technology are unable to find this information they need, and it may lead to them not being eligible for unemployment or filling out the application wrong. So the websites need an overhaul to make it easy to read and easy to understand what you need to do and what needs to be done in order to file and be eligible for unemployment. To come to these solutions, it requires collaboration between everyone in all disciplines. You can't just create new laws without everyone coming together. So you need people on both sides to look at this and say it does need help. You need the new policy to be made. You need the new policy to be passed, and you need people to embrace the policy so that it can have success. So I don't think there's going to be much immediate fixing for the system, but I think one of the huge thing overlies in creating a system to prevent this from happening again, because we know we're gonna have another outbreak of a virus. It may not be the COVID, but there's going to be other viruses in the world, and we need systems in place to prevent things like this, even if they're just in case, because it could be a long time or we may never see something like this again. But there needs to be something in place so that it doesn't happen, and so that so many people are not able to pay their bills and pay their rent and just survive. And this is just my citation.